In the grand hall of the Galactic Academy, laughter echoed like cruel thunder. They didn't laugh out of joy. They laughed at her. A frail alien girl, skin pale blue, eyes hollow, stomach growling, sat in the shadows, clutching a metal bowl. Empty again. Her name was Isla. She wasn't weak by her species standards. No, Isla had survived wars on glass planets and sandstorms that melted armor. But here, among the so-called civilized species of the galaxy, she was invisible. They mocked her accent. They mocked her smell. They mocked her every time she reached for food at the shared table, only to be shoved aside. Not one tray was ever left for her. Not one fruit. Not one ration bar. For 3 weeks. Not one meal. And still she showed up. Every day, quiet, dignified, starving. Until he arrived. A human transferred from Earth's military academy. Just another soldier in training. Everyone expected him to laugh too. But when he saw Isla sitting alone, watching others feast while she withered, he didn't laugh. He stood, walked across the room, tray in hand, sat down beside her, and said, just 6 words, "Come eat with me, soldier." The room froze. Alien eyes widened, plates dropped. Because in their galaxy humans had a reputation. They weren't just strong, they were dangerous when angry, and kind when broken. And when this human took Isla's hand and placed food in it, the galaxy would remember it as the moment everything changed in the deep heart of Station Erasneen, where thousands of alien species moved through steel halls and glowing trade zones. No one noticed the small girl sitting alone in the corner. She wasn't human. She had soft silver skin, dark wide eyes, and a tiny frame barely strong enough to stand. Her clothes were torn, her hands were shaking, and her stomach had stopped growling 2 days ago. She had stopped counting days. She was just hungry, but no one cared. Merchants passed her, soldiers ignored her, children laughed at her. Just a street rat. One tall Gorak whispered to his friend. Don't feed her, said another. Her kind breeds like bugs. Every day she sat there. Every day she watched others eat bright fruit, roasted meat, glowing energy cubes. She breathed in the smells and dreamed of food. They mocked her in a dozen languages. Some tossed trash at her. Others recorded her with blinking iCams and shared the images in private chats. Look, the little worm is still alive. But still, she didn't speak. She didn't move. She only waited. Waited. For what? She didn't know. Then one day, someone did stop. He was human. He had dark skin, short brown hair, and a heavy pack on his shoulder. He wasn't wearing a uniform. He didn't look rich. Just a regular trader passing through. His name was Kalen. He looked at the girl, looked at the others laughing, then slowly walked over, opened his pack, and sat on the floor next to her. He pulled out a wrapped piece of bread, a cooked protein stick, and a sealed bottle of water. Everyone on the street stared, and then he said, 5 simple words. Come eat with me, okay? The alien girl blinked. She looked left and right, unsure if it was a trick. It wasn't. Kalen didn't move, didn't force, just unwrapped the bread, and broke off a piece, and slowly, carefully, he handed it to her. At first, she didn't take it. She just stared, but the smell hit her nose. Warm, real food. Her hand moved without thinking. She took it, bit it, eyes wide, tears running down her face. She chewed, swallowed, almost forgot how. Kalen gave her more. He smiled. He said nothing else. For 10 whole minutes, no one spoke. The aliens nearby stopped laughing. They just watched. And in that moment, something strange happened. Dangerous, because Kalen didn't know who she really was. Didn't know her name was Lissa. Didn't know her bloodline carried a secret. Didn't know what she would become. Didn't know that feeding her might doom the galaxy. And in the shadows of the station, hidden eyes were already watching him. Recording him, and preparing a warning to send to the high command. The human has made contact. The prophecy may be in motion. But it was already too late, because Kalen had just broken the one rule the galaxy had kept for 1,000 years. Never feed the last starborn. The next day, something strange happened. The alien girl was sitting in the same spot near the human base, quiet, thin, and still staring at the ground like yesterday. But this time, she wasn't alone. A small plate of food rested next to her, warm, fresh, and clearly from the human camp. And standing a few feet away was the same human boy who had offered her food the night before. The guards at the gate whispered to each other, confused. Why is he doing that again? One muttered. They're not even supposed to be here. But the boy, his name was Kale, didn't care what they said. He had seen something in the girl's eyes yesterday. Something not alien, but human. Pain, shame, hunger. He sat down near her without a word. The alien girl, still dressed in tattered robes and dirt, Skin looked at the food, then at him. Her voice cracked. Why? Kale didn't answer. He just nudged the plate forward. She ate slowly, cautiously, but when she finished, her hands were shaking, and then, without warning, she asked, "Do you have a name?" That's when Kale realized this wasn't just about food. This was something deeper. This girl had been starving not just in her stomach, but in her soul. Back at the alien camp, something darker was unfolding. The other alien soldiers saw her return with food, and they weren't happy. "She's getting help from a human," one growled. "Traitor," hissed another. "She's a danger now." Their leader, a tall female with glowing red tattoos, watched from the shadows. "She speaks to a human. Next she will become one." But the youngest soldier among them said nothing. He only watched the girl from a distance, eyes full of fear, and something else, guilt. Back in the human zone, Kale walked into the control room where the officers were already suspicious. "She's not dangerous," he argued. "She hasn't hurt anyone. She just wants food." Captain Myra crossed her arms. "She's still an alien. We don't know who she is or why she's here, but maybe she's like us," Kale said softly. "Maybe she's the mistake her people made, and maybe we're her last chance." Myra didn't reply, but something in Kale's words stayed with her. Later that night, the alien girl waited near the gate again, and for the first time in her life she hoped, not for survival, but for kindness, for a world where someone might see her as more than a thing. And when Kale returned with a blanket, she said something she never thought she would. "Is Araka?" He smiled. "Nice to meet you, Araka." That was the moment the story changed. The moment two broken worlds began to connect, not through weapons or war, but through one plate of food and a name. The next night, Kale waited near the gate, but Araka never came. Not at sunset, not when the moon rose, not even when the wind turned cold. Something was wrong. Kale's heart beat faster. Every night since she gave him her name, she had come, sat, ate quietly, and sometimes whispered stories of stars. Broken stories. Sad ones, but real. Tonight, only silence. He stood, fists tight. "I'm going to find her." A guard grabbed his shoulder. "You'll get killed, kid. That's alien territory." Kale didn't care. "She's not just an alien," he said. "She's something else." And then he ran into the darkness, deep inside the alien camp. Araka sat in a cold tent, wrists bound, lips bloodied. Her own kind had dragged her here, accused her of treason, said she was tainted by human kindness. The tall leader with red tattoos stood over her. "You shared your name," the leader said, voice like stone. "Do you even know what that means?" Araka looked up weakly. "It means I trusted him," the leader hissed. "It means you gave away our last defense." In her culture, a true name was sacred, hidden from enemies. To give it away was to give up power, but Araka had done it freely because Kale had looked at her like she mattered now. She was paying the price. Meanwhile, Kale slipped past ruined stone walls and alien guard posts. His feet bled, his breath burned, but he kept going until he heard the sound. A voice. Her voice. "Don't hurt him. He's not like the others." Kale froze. She was defending him, even while tied up. Crept closer, hiding behind a tent. And Ani saw it. Araka bruised, weak, surrounded by angry alien warriors. He wanted to run in, to scream, to fight, but what could one human do? Then he saw something glint in the firelight, a strange mark on her skin, glowing through her torn clothes. It looked like bones under her skin, but not normal bones. They pulsed, like they were alive. And that's when Kale realized, she wasn't just hungry, she wasn't just kind. Araka was hiding something powerful, something even her people feared. The leader shouted, "You gave your name to a human. You betrayed your blood. Now we take back what you gave away." She raised a glowing blade. Kale's heart stopped. No, he stood. He didn't care. If they saw him now, stop. The aliens turned. Weapons raised. And Araka's head snapped up. "Kale," she whispered. He stepped into the firelight, unarmed, shaking. "She's not your enemy," he said. "She's the only reason I believe your kind can change." The leader laughed. "You are brave, human, and stupid." But then, something unexpected happened. Araka stood, even with her hands tied, and her voice was no longer soft. "You want to take back what I gave," she growled. "Then take it from my bones." Her body lit up. The bone-like marks across her arms, chest, and spine began to glow, bright, furious, like molten light under her skin. The warrior stepped back in fear. Kale watched, stunned. What are you?" he whispered. She turned to him. "I am the last carrier," she said. "The old ones burned my body with power, and then left me to starve because they feared what I might become." She looked at the leader now. You're right. I gave my name to a human, but that's not weakness, that's strength. Then she broke her chains. Godkale barely remembered what happened next. Light screams, the ground shaking, aliens running, and Araka standing in the flames like a goddess made of stars and sorrow. But when it ended, she fell. He caught her. She looked up at him, weak again. Just a girl. You came, she whispered. He smiled. Of course I did. The next morning, something strange happened. The alien girl, Alari, sat quietly near the back of the camp, her eyes half shut from weakness. She hadn't eaten for days. Her silver hair was dusty, her hands shaking. The other aliens laughed loudly over their meals, not even glancing in her direction. She was invisible to them. But then, someone approached. A shadow fell across her. Ilari looked up slowly. It was the human. No one had seen him clearly before. He always stayed quiet, kept to himself. People said he was dangerous, strange, a soldier who had seen too much war. But now, he stood in front of her holding something. In his hands, a small box. Without saying a word, he sat down beside her. Slowly, he opened the box. Inside was warm food. Not alien food. Human food. Simple, cooked, smelling like comfort and home. He looked at her and said, "Eat." Ellery blinked. Was this a trick? A joke? But he didn't laugh when she didn't move. He picked up a spoon, took one bite to show it wasn't poisoned, then placed the spoon in her hand. The camp went silent. Everyone turned. Eyes widened. Whispers spread like fire. No one eats with the outcast. She's nothing, she's weak. The human stood up, his eyes sharp. If she's weak, he said, voice calm but powerful, then so were you once. We all were. And then he said something no one forgot. Kindness isn't weakness. It's the one thing stronger than fear. From that day, everything changed. For the first time in days, Elari stood, and everyone saw it. The weak, starving alien girl once ignored, once laughter rose to her feet, not with power, not with pride, but with quiet strength. The kind that comes after pain. After being broken, but still breathing. The human didn't help her. This time he just stood beside her, silent, steady, like a mountain that refused to move. Around them, the others stared. Some were confused, some were angry, and a few looked ashamed because they remembered how they had laughed when she was too weak to stand, when she had collapsed beside the water barrel and no one moved, when she had asked for a crumb and they turned their backs. But now, she didn't need them. She took a step forward and another. Each step was heavy, not because her body was weak, but because everyone was watching, judging, whispering. She's only walking because of him. She fall again. She's still nothing. But Alari didn't care. Her eyes locked on the fire pit. At the center of the camp, a place she had never been allowed to sit, she walked right to it. The human pulled a piece of wood from his bag, lit it, and gave her the flame. She lit the fire, and no one stopped her. It burned, soft, bright, alive. One of the elders stood up. His voice shook. She's just a girl. She's not just a girl, the human interrupted. His voice was calm, but cold. She's someone you left to die, and still, she chose to live. No one spoke after that. For the rest of the night, Ilari sat by the fire, not alone, not starving, not forgotten. She didn't smile, she didn't cry, but in her eyes, something changed. They weren't empty anymore. They held fire too. No one dared stop her now. Ilari didn't speak, she didn't raise her voice, but her silence burned hotter than the fire in front of her. Her eyes, once hollow from hunger, now glowed with something else. Power. Not the kind that shouts, the kind that waits. She sat by the fire like she had always belonged there, and the others watched, not because they cared, but because they were afraid. Afraid of what she had become. Afraid of the human who sat beside her, guarding her like a shadow. The one who fed her when no one else would. The one who spoke to her like she mattered, even when she couldn't speak back. The one who changed her. And now, she wasn't the same. Earlier that morning, a soldier had tried to chase her away from the fire pit. He never made it past the first step, because she looked up, just looked, and he froze. It was like her stare held a storm, like everything she had suffered now lived inside her gaze. All the hunger, the shame, the cold nights. They hadn't broken her. They had sharpened her, and the human, he didn't need to protect her anymore. He just sat there, watching, proud. Some of the others whispered, "She's dangerous now," but humans made her forget her place. But one of the younger ones, barely older than a child, came forward quietly. She didn't say anything. She just knelt beside Ilari and placed a small stone in her hand. It was a symbol, one of respect. Ilari looked at the child and nodded. That's when it started. One by one, the youngest ones of the alien camp came closer, not the elders, not the strong ones, Just the quiet ones, the ones who had always watched, always waited. They came to sit by Alari's fire, not to take her food, not to offer pity, just to be near her, to learn. And suddenly, Alari wasn't alone. She was leading without saying a word. The elders noticed. Some grew angry, some grew quiet, but none dared speak against her because deep down they knew. They had laughed when she was starving, but now she was the flame. They followed her, but not because they were told to. They followed because they felt it. Alari didn't ask for power. She didn't want it. But real power never needs to ask that. It arrives quietly like morning light. And when it touches you, everything changes. The young ones who sat by her fire were no longer afraid of the cold, because Alari was warm now, not just her hands, but her spirit. The human sat beside her, still calm, still silent, but in his silence, there was pride. He had seen it coming before anyone else. When they mocked her, when they tossed stones, when they left her hungry, he had only offered kindness, and kindness had become strength. That morning, something unexpected happened. A voice, old, cracked, trembling, echoed from the stone tower at the center of the camp. It was the eldest, the one who ruled their kind for centuries, the one who never stepped down from his tower unless war or prophecy demanded it. He came down, slow, steps, heavy robe. All eyes turned. Even the sky seemed to hold its breath. The eldest walked, past the warriors, past the nobles, past the guards. He walked toward Alari, and when he stopped, he didn't speak. He knelt. Everyone gasped. Even the flames flickered. Alari, he said in a voice like wind over old stones, you are not the hungry one anymore. You are the chosen flame. Our people have waited generations for one like you. Alari didn't speak. She looked at the human beside her. He gave a small nod. His eyes soft. She stood, not like a warrior, not like a queen, but like someone who finally remembered who she really was. And the others, they followed, not with cheers, but with silence, with respect, because real leaders don't rise with swords or crowns. They rise from fire, from hunger, from kindness. And now, Alari walked ahead, not behind anyone, not begging for scraps, but leading them into something new, a future even the stars hadn't seen coming.